Kenya, like the rest of the world, continues to count down to the end of 2023 and look into 2024. Just a day or so. But newsmakers are continuing to hold events that are worth covering, and that is what we scribes continue to document. Here are some of the stories that we think are important tonight. Police fight and repel 20 Al-Shabaab militants who had raided a Mandera Quick Response Unit camp today in the morning. Special needs teachers want 3-year professional certificate renewal notice repealed, say process too hectic. Irate residents kill and ban 2 suspected livestock thieves in Murang'a as 2 others survive this unconventional justice. And in our special feature tonight, we look into the dialogue that ended opposition protests, which may resume in 2024 according to Raila Odinga.
This is Kutv Primetime News with Omondi Otieno.
Denis, Omondi, and our sign language interpreter this evening is Moses Gitonga. Thanks so much for choosing to get your news here. Suspected Al-Shabaab militants on Friday morning raided a quick response unit camp in Lafey sub-county, Mandera County. Police reports indicate that more than 20 heavily armed militants approached the camp from northwest, launching their attack within a distance of 100 meters from the camp. Officers based at the camp responded by engaging the militants in a 15-minute confrontation and successfully repelled them. However, no police officer was killed or injured during the incident. The incident follows a recent attack in the Sheikh Center, Tarbaj sub-county in Wajir County, where suspected Al-Shabaab militants destroyed a key Safaricom communications mast, crippling communication in the area as there are no alternative signal networks. And the Kenya Union of Special Needs Education Teachers, KUSNET, has called on the Commission for Domestic Taxes to repeal the legal notice that requires persons living with disability to renew their certificates after every 3 years. KUSNET Secretary General James Torome said the move is too hectic for teachers living with disability and all other civil servants who have to pass through a lengthy process to get the vital certificate in case the certificate is not renewed. The unionist says that this special group of people loses around 16% of their basic salary. Torome requested members of parliament who come from the labor movement to champion for a bill in parliament to repeal the KRA Act, saying failure to do so will force them to sponsor a private motion in parliament. And irate villagers of Gakonya in Murang'a East Sub-County at the dawn on Saturday lynched 2 suspected livestock thieves. The 2 were cornered by the villagers after a local resident raised an alarm after realizing one of her cows was missing. The villagers who responded to the alarm embarked on a search for the cow, only to find the missing cow in a lorry that was being driven towards Murang'a town from Sagana. The lorry that was also torched by the residents was ferrying 4 cows believed to be stolen from neighboring areas. The driver of the lorry and one person managed to escape as the two were caught by the residents, who beat them up to death and set their bodies on fire. Police officers from Muranga Police Station and the county fire engine who rushed to the scene to rescue the victims were blocked by the irate residents as the bodies of the two burnt beyond recognition. The locals have decried increased theft of livestock, leading to huge losses.
Ng'ombe wangu tayari alikuwa ameenda. Mahali hapa kulikuwa na watu wawili wakashikwa, wenye walikuwa wameimba ng'ombe, walikuwa na mapanga na watu waliwashoma.
Ningeomba wananchi tushirikiane na hao ndio watupashe habari, ndio tuweze kusaidiana, tuone kama hii wizi ya ng'ombe tutapeleka chini. Kwa hivyo ningeomba wananchi wawe watulivu, watupatie muda ndio tuweze kuchunguza.
We are not very happy as residents because we caught thieves. We were able to ban one vehicle here.
Residents of Wanguru town in Mwea East Kirinyaga County are complaining over rising cases of insecurity in the area. Night time has been reported to be the worst, with thieves going mostly for smartphones and valuable electronics in residential houses. The residents want police posted in the area to do more night patrols to weed out the criminal elements. Take a look.
In agony, tens of residents from Wanguru town, Kirinyaga County, have narrated their different painful encounter with the merciless thugs who are targeting their phones, as well as using master keys to access their house after allegedly spraying their houses with a sleep-causing chemical and taking all electronic and other valuable items like gas cooker, leaving their houses empty. Several residents narrated how the thieves recently sprayed their houses through the ventilation with a chemical that drove the entire family to sleep, only to wake up to a rude shock the following day after realizing that the thief made away with all their phones and house items.
Kuwa victim wa kuimbiwa. Kwangu kwa nyumba tulifulisiwa ndawa, tukaimbiwa gas, TV, ufa na electronics yote, hata simu ilienda yangu na ya bimbi.
Security haiko mzuri katika hii mtaa wetu, inahitaji kuangaliliwa. Tunaomba serikali waongeze especially patrol usiku, kwa sababu inaonekana kuna vijana ambao wanaradarada usiku wakijaribu kupiga watu ngeta, wanaiba masimu na pia kuvuja duka za wenyewe.
The residents opine despite reporting the insecurity cases to Wanguru Police Station, police are slow to act as none of them has recovered his or her lost phone through the police. However, there are rays of hope of smartphones recovery in the area as a private investigator, Joaquim Maragia, has embarked on helping the victims recover their lost phones using tracking technology.
Kile naweza kuambia vijana sasa wa kuiba simu. Wakati wa kuiba simu umeisha, sababu hakuna simu ambayo iwezi patikana. Na wale ambao wananunua simu za wizi, mjue mko katika hali mbaya, sababu ukipatikana na simu ya wizi utalipa na utawekwa ndani, utaenda hasara, sababu mwenye amekuhusia simu kitambo apatikane wewe ndio uko na simu kwa mikono na utakuwa umeumia.
Kenyans fond of buying second-hand mobile phones are warned to be on the lookout because they may end up in custody after the phones are tracked. Kiki Blessings, KUTV.
A conservation group in Dabaso ward of Kilifi County has embarked on a mangrove tree restoration program with a view to conserving marine life that is dependent on mangroves. The group has nurtured 78,000 mangrove tree seedlings to be planted along the coastline in the ward. Christina Dhiambo tells us more.
Sita Umoja Conservation Group, through assistance from the World Bank, funded Kenya Marine Fisheries and Socio-Economic Development Project KEMSFED and raised 78,000 mangrove tree seedlings to be planted along the coastlines in the ward. Maxon Zomo, the group's chairman, says the group received a grant of 4.9 million Kenyan shillings from KEMSFED, which it used to nurture the seedlings that he says are ready for transplanting. He also said the group has been involved in restoration activities for the past 14 years.
Kutengeneza nasari ya miche 78,000 miche ya mikoko ambayo saa hii iko tayari ya kuweza kupelekwa katika msitu wa mangrove kupanda.
Kushukuru hili shirika kwa sababu kufikia saa hizi ndani ya wodi ya Dabaso kuna makundi 5 ambao yamebenefit kutoka kwa huu mradi na kwa ujumla milioni 15 tumepokea.
The project's national coordinator, Mr. Patrick Mwenda Kiara, on his part said that the project aims at supporting the country in its efforts to leverage emerging opportunities in the blue economy with a special focus on fisheries.
Those are in 3 categories. There's one, the livelihoods, where a group will come up with a proposal, maybe something that will start generating their income. It could be social, like you heard, we are doing supporting a dispensary here, or it could be environmental, like
Kilifi County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Livestock Development and Blue Economy, Mr. Chula Mwagona, said 135 community-based groups carrying out various activities had received more than 300 million Kenyan shillings since the project started early this year.
Pokewa vizuri kwa mkono ulio wazi. Unajua, kwanza kabisa ni wao makundi waliweza kuidentify shida zao na wakaandika proposal kuomba kufadhiliwa ili kuwafikia yale malengo yao. Hata sasa ukiona hii kundi ya 6 waliona kwamba sisi tukiweka miche ya mikoko.
Sita Umoja Conservation Group is among 621 groups in 5 of the 6 coastal counties that strengthen capacity in governance of marine fisheries and empower coastal communities economically. Christine Adhiambo for KUTV.
On the international front tonight, South Africa has filed a case at the International Court of Justice ICJ against Israel, who she accuses of engaging in genocidal acts in Gaza. Meanwhile, Burundi President Evariste Ndayishimiye now wants homosexual couples in Burundi stoned publicly. And in DRC, presidential election results are set to be announced on Sunday as tensions continue. Theo Masharia narrates.
The International Court of Justice, ICJ, has confirmed receiving allegations from South Africa that Israel is engaging in genocidal acts in Gaza. South Africa, led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, is a staunch supporter of the Palestinians and has been highly critical of Israel's military operation in Gaza. In November, South Africa recalled all of its diplomats from Israel, causing Israel to also recall its ambassadors from Pretoria. The South African National Assembly also voted to suspend all diplomatic relations with Israel, but the government is yet to respond to the vote. Israel's Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Leo Hayat said that South Africa's claim is a contemptuous exploitation of the court. He additionally claimed that South Africa was cooperating with a terrorist organization that is calling for the destruction of Israel and therefore rejected the allegation, calling it baseless. Moreover, Israel does not recognize the existence of ICC. And more than 21,500 people have been killed in Gaza, mostly children and women, during the Israeli-Hamas attacks. During a public event broadcast by Burundian media, Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye, who is a fervent Catholic, has described homosexuality as an abominable practice, saying same-sex couples should be put in a stadium and stoned publicly. He further stated that powerful nations should keep their aid to themselves if it comes with an obligation to give rights to homosexuals. Homosexuality is illegal in many East African countries. In May this year, Uganda adopted one of the world's harshest laws against homosexuality, prompting outrage among rights groups and Western powers who threatened to remove Uganda from a key trade deal and has imposed visa restrictions on some officials, while the World Bank suspended new loans to the country. The Electoral Commission of the Democratic Republic of Congo has said that the full provisional results of the elections held on the 20th of December will be announced on Sunday 31st. The provisional tally so far, based on results from 46,422 polling stations out of a possible 76,000, shows that incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi is ahead of his 18 challengers with about 76% of the votes. His closest challenger, businessman Moise Katumbi, follows with 17% of the votes counted so far. Opposition in DRC has claimed there was total chaos during the voting process and denounced irregularities in the polling. An election observation mission run by the Catholic and Protestant churches also hinted numerous cases of irregularities and questioned the legality of the voting process. Theo Masharia, KUTV.
Okay, this year started with demonstrations, and then later we ended up with talks that went for almost the whole year. The National Dialogue Committee, you understand that. We look at the start and the end of that after this short break. You want to see that special report. See you in a bit.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Mtazamaji, ni shukrani za dhati kwa kutembea nasi mwaka mzima na zaidi kwa kutuchagua sisi kama kituo unachokienzi. Mimi ni Joseph Oyomo. Tunakutakia heri njema za Krismasi, furaha na amani pamoja na heri njema za mwaka mpya.
It's another new season and it's another new year. This is Fashion Diaries, where we showcase anything beauty, anything fashion, anything trending in the world of fashion, anything runway, anything red carpet.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday, we ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. Every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Denis Omondi.
Welcome back. The news goes on. Now, moving on, the National Dialogue Committee was established to resolve a political crisis occasioned by street demonstrations called by Azimio leader Raila Odinga to protest against the high cost of living, electoral injustices, and the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC), among other issues. The Odinga-led demonstrations compelled the government to set up the Dialogue Committee to resolve an impasse which was draining billions from Kenya's already fragile economy. The negotiations committee started its work against the backdrop of public pessimism about the commitment of the top leadership of the two coalitions to the cause, as Ann Odida now reports.
Zakayo asuke chini. Hii maandamano hatutaki mambo ya break. Na nimeambia mambo ni mangapi? Matatu.
We are talking about the unity of the people of Mount Kenya.
The genesis
phase of the bipartisan talks came at a time when a political crisis prevailed for a year since the time the then Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the president-elect, an announcement that would cause a rift in the commission itself and expulsion of 4 commissioners better known as Cherera 4.
I, Wafula Chebukati, chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president.
March 20th, 2023 saw the onset of Kenya's opposition party protest against the government that would degenerate into looting and deadly clashes between security forces and demonstrators and paralyze the running of businesses in the country for the 4 months of protest. On the list of demands for the first phase of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition protest that began on 20th March, 27th March and 30th March included refusal by President Ruto to allow the audit of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission servers, high cost of living after the government eliminated subsidies, nepotism in the Kenya Kwanza administration, and failing to consult other stakeholders in the reconstitution of IEBC. A few days before the coalition embarked on a 3-day protest, President William Ruto held a briefing with the media on April 2nd, asking the opposition leader Raila Odinga and other opposition leaders to call off the mass protest and give a bipartisan parliamentary engagement a chance, a call that Odinga gave into just a few hours after the president's address.
In view of the recent events that led to loss of life and destruction of property in the demonstrations that have occasioned in our country for the last 2 weeks, I urge my brother Raila Odinga and the opposition to call off the demonstrations and to give this bipartisan approach a chance.
We acknowledge Mr. Ruto's olive branch for the dialogue on key issues raised by Azimio la Umoja. To us, this is a positive development.
After attempts to hold the first phase of the bipartisan talks, Azimio withdrew from the offer, stating that President William Ruto's team exhibited bad faith from the beginning of the process that was set to bring together 14 members of parliament.
When it became clear that there was lack of good faith on the part of our friends, we were instructed by the parliamentary group to suspend the talks and withdraw. And that is what we did.
On May 2nd, the second phase of protest began, with Odinga encouraging his followers to oppose the high cost of living and to demand for the opening of the IEBC servers, as well as the return of IEBC commissioners who had been expelled.
We are marching on. Tomorrow we take a break, strategize and recharge. Our protest will resume on Thursday, the 4th of May. Same meeting, same offices, same petition, same people.
The Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition called off the protest a day later after the ruling Kenya Kwanza-led government ceded to their demands to withdraw Eldas Member of Parliament Adan Kainan from its bipartisan talks team. In his place, Saku Member of Parliament Dido Raso was picked. After a 2-month break, Azimio announced the resumption of protest on July 7 on the historic Sabasaba Day, this time to protest against the high cost of living and punitive taxes relayed on the Finance Act 2023, protest that would later be witnessed for 3 consecutive days and would later grab the attention of international communities and a call for dialogue. On July 25th, Odinga revealed that Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu had visited Kenya in an effort to unite the two warring political divides, but the government side did not show up, perhaps a revelation that would lead to President William Ruto's next gesture. A few hours later, Ruto lowered his nets by sending the leader of the opposition his proposal for talks for the second time, saying that he is ready whenever Odinga is ready, to which the opposition leader responded that he will not hold a dialogue with President William Ruto unless there is a third party to mediate between them. The new round of talks was then agreed upon a few days after President Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga held the first of a series of talks that was mediated by former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo with the intention to lay the groundwork for the dialogue.
We sanctioned a meeting between our leadership and that of Kenya Kwanza under the facilitation of His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo.
On August 1st, after their parliamentary group meeting, the Azimio coalition stated that it was ready for talks with President William Ruto-led Kenya Kwanza coalition. On the same day of their address, the coalition came up with a team that will take on the Kenya Kwanza side in the talks, led by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who was to be joined by Eugene Wamalwa, Ugunja Member of Parliament and National Assembly's Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi, Nyamira Senator Okongo Mogeni, and Malindi MP Amina Mnyazi.
We have absolute faith with the team and ask that every member of the coalition to give them the necessary support.
In a swift rejoinder, Kenya Kwanza said in a statement that Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah would lead its team, which would include Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheruiyot, Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire, Hassan Omar, and Bungoma County Woman Representative Catherine Wambilianga. Kenya Kwanza also issued their demands for the talks, including the reconstitution of the IEBC, the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule, establishment of the opposition leader's official office, entrenchment of the Constituency Development Fund, and the embedding of the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office. This to counter the Azimio demands in the second phase of the talks, which included the high cost of living, an audit of the 2022 general election, inclusivity in national affairs, bipartisan reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and the respect of political parties in line with the Constitution. During a special sitting held on Tuesday, August 29, senators unanimously voted to approve the National Dialogue Committee, a team that was made up of 10 members to represent the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, constituting the majority party of the Parliament of Kenya, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, a coalition forming the minority party of the Parliament of Kenya.
The mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall be to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and to recommend appropriate constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya to be framed by the National Dialogue Committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya.
After a period of submission of memorandums from various groups and proposals they wanted to be considered during the talks, including the Parliamentary Service Commission, Homa Bay Interface Community Health Desk, former Busia Senator Amos Wako, Kenya Institute for Public Research Analysis, Public Service Commission, Trans Nzoia County Communities Council, Information Communication Technology Association of Kenya, Council of Governors, and lawmakers including Senators Ledama Olekina, Enoch Wambua, and Tom Ojenda, the National Dialogue Committee NADCO resumed its sitting at the Bomas of Kenya on October 2nd, 2023. In a notice of motion presented by National Assembly leader Kimani Ichung'wah, the committee requested to present its report to President William Ruto and Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga on or before November 26. The talks took a period of 90 days, inclusive of the time it began to receive participation from the public and stakeholders engagement on August 14. On the night of November 25th, the committee led by Azimio's Kalonzo Musyoka and Kenya Kwanza's Kimani Ichung'wah sent their report to President Ruto and the opposition chief, which Ruto endorsed and applauded the committee's 4-month effort.
I want to congratulate all the teams that were involved in the dialogue process. They have come up with recommendations. I have seen the recommendations. They are in good stead. All the recommendations they have made, they are practical. We are going to work on those recommendations.
Opposition, on the other hand, termed the report as imperfect and incomplete, saying that the Kenya Kwanza side of the committee failed to agree to their proposals concerning the high cost of living, which was the reason for the formation of the committee.
Is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning. We have agreed to disagree on the most important matter to us. We made what we believed were reasonable proposals on how to address the rising cost of living.
The committee had agreed on key agenda of the talks but referred disputed issues for further consultations. Among issues that were agreed upon included creation of the post of official opposition leader with 2 deputies, entrenching the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office into law, audit of the 2022 electoral process, increase of timelines within which the Supreme Court shall hear and determine a petition challenging the validity of a presidential election from 14 days to 21 days, among others. While releasing the report, the committee noted its failure to agree on the scrapping of the housing levy and the reduction of VAT on fuel from 16% to 8%. The NADCO report was however not agreed upon by other Azimio leaders, including Azimio core principal Martha Karua, who noted that the main cause for demonstrations was barely addressed, claiming that the report was a fraud only set to benefit leaders. Eugene Wamalo was also a member of the dialogue committee, also disagreed with the final report, highlighting its failure to thoroughly address what he termed as the most important issue raised by Kenyans. Anodida, KUTV.
Zakayo asuke chini. Hii maandamano hatutaki mambo ya break. Na nimeambia mambo ni mangapi? Matatu.
We are talking about the unity of the people of Mount Kenya.
For watching the news with us tonight, that brings us to the end of our news this evening. I want to take this opportunity to wish you a wonderful 2024 because this is my last day on the desk. From tomorrow you will be in here with Martin Mutegi taking over. I don't know why I forget some of these things, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name is Denis Omondi. Our sign language interpreter this evening has been Moses Gitonga. I hope we get to say hi to each other when we meet along these spaces. Good night.